Hello and welcome to Local Gov Strategy TV. Today I'm joined by George Black, who is the Chief Executive of Glasgow City Council. Hello George.
Hello.
The Council has recently undergone a service reform programme. Can you tell us a bit about the transition and how this is progressing?
The first issue that we tried to address was making sure that people understood the case for change, and then also identifying the drivers for change. Once we had carried that out, it was then a case of trying to make sure that staff understood that and bought into the change itself. So the change is at a midpoint in a way whereby the service reform programme comes in waves whereby you build up the momentum of a live programme, and then as that programme tails away, you have to then build up your next phase of programme. So we're quite advanced in the first phase, which will be coming to a close next year, and the effort at the moment is making sure that we replace the projects which are completed with a new phase of programme change.
And so can you give some examples of the changes that you're actually implementing?
Well, the early changes were in many ways structural, whereby we identified a number of activities within the council that we thought should be carried out at arm's length from the council. So they're still controlled by the council, but separate legal entities. And that involved a transfer of about 13,000 staff under TUPE. So to give you a feel for it, our staff numbers went down in the council itself from about 35,000 to about 22,000. So that was the first phase of change. And the second phase was actually within these discrete areas, each area having a programme of change itself.
So if you've established separate companies, then are you not being accused of privatisation?
No, as I mentioned, the companies, and some of them are charitable companies, are wholly controlled by the council. So although they are at arm's length, the strategic direction and the policy decision still remains with the council. We feel that gets the right balance between direct control and strategic direction.
So are the public on your side, and how have you conveyed that message to the public?
Well, by and large, I don't think the public are too interested in structures. They're interested in service delivery. And for example, we established a separate trust dealing with our sports centres, our leisure centres, libraries, museums, etc. I don't think the public have seen anything different than maybe a change of brand. There has been an overall improvement in terms of the surveys we carry out. I think it's quite difficult, being honest about it, to identify discreetly what is the reason for a change or an improvement, but improvement certainly has happened.
So what part has technology played in the transformation that you've undergone, and how have you gone about ensuring that the end users feel competent with the technology that you've installed?
Okay, one of the drivers for change we identified was ICT and property management, or ICT and property taken together. And we established a joint venture with Serco, Council and Serco coming together, and that was recognising that albeit Glasgow is a fairly big council, certainly in terms in Scotland, we didn't feel that we would be able to keep pace with the development of technology, and we thought getting into a joint venture with an organisation who could or had these development skills was the best way of keeping pace with improvements in technology. So that joint venture will be coming up for its fourth year at the end of next March, and that is a key driver in terms of trying to rationalise property but also change the way in which staff work within the city centre, where we're introducing mobile working, home working, and that involves about 4,500 staff.
So there's a lot of changes that obviously staff, you've got to take staff along with you. You talked earlier about the importance of communicating with and engaging staff. How do you actually communicate with staff, and how do you keep them motivated? We
took a conscious decision to try and develop a communication strategy which was talking to staff directly to them and trying to convey the change, that there was a direction to it, that it wasn't change for change's sake. So the overall brand was Tomorrow's Council, which was, in a way, was what will things be like in the future. And we tried to spell out and describe that. We then had Tomorrow's Workforce, was it who will be doing or be providing the services in the future and how will they be providing them. And we had Tomorrow's Office, which was where will services be provided from. And in our Insider magazine, the staff magazine, we've had a series of articles which is trying to explain that, but as I say, put it in a strategic context. And our latest phase is what we are calling Shaping the Future.
What advice would you give to local councillors who are looking to engage in a strategic partnership with a private sector partner?
Well, they need to be clear about the reasons that you are going into a joint venture partnership, and they need to be clear about what their role is and be active in carrying out that role. So there is a key role for elected members in the partnership we have with Serco, where the partnership board is chaired by the leader of the council, the political head of the council. The overall control of the partnership board lies with the council because it's about strategic decisions. But the operational board that sits below that is managed or controlled by Serco because that's where the risk is being taken. They have to deliver savings and improvement, and they're taking the risk on that. And we find that balance works very well.